Hey, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Lisherness, and here is my analysis of the introduction, No Mere Ape, on Ramachandran's book, The Telltale Brain. So basically the whole introduction was about how humans are apes, but not merely apes, which I really liked because I found it very humbling, and I think it's something we all need to kind of take in and consider, in that, hey, yeah, we're unique, but ultimately, just like apes, we evolved from a common ancestor, or we evolved from a common ancestor to apes, and we evolved, through the exact same evolutionary processes as everything else on this planet. Now we're still a part of this planet. We're still mammals. Now we're still connected to it. That the only thing that really makes us different is our cognitive capacity, which gave us this skills to do everything we can do now. But however, that back to this, we're special, but maybe not that special, because there were other species out there similar to humans, such as the Neanderthals and hobbits, that were pretty close to having the cognitive capacity that we had, but just didn't quite make the leap. Like I said, I just thought it was really humbling and something I think all people need to consider. Then he goes to addressing the question, where does our uniqueness come from? Well, ultimately our uniqueness comes from our enhanced cognitive capacities from our brain that I was telling you about. But, hundreds of thousands of years ago we had a similar brain capacity to other species. But all of a sudden we had this huge leap in cognitive ability, this huge change that really just launched us into being the dominant species on the planet by far. And he goes into talking about how this kind of linear train of thought, especially when it comes to change, about how only small changes can lead to small results, and how that is a wrong assumption. And he was applying this to the brain, about how there's a bunch of small mutations and small selective pressures occurring in the brain, and ultimately it all just ganged up and hit each other at one time, and basically the brain kind of had this huge epiphany and just really took off in its cognitive capacity and enabled us to do what we are doing today. And he used this ice phase transition as an example of how you have these small changes at first that don't really lead to anything, then all of a sudden everything just aligns perfectly and you have ice melting or freezing or boiling. Anyways, this phase transition just kind of bugged me, and not because it was wrong in any way, but because I took physical chemistry last semester, and I talked a lot about phase transitions. We learned a lot about phase transitions, and it was really really boring. And then when I got tested on it, it was really hard and made me want to punch people in the face. So that just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But no fault on Ramachandran. I doubt most of his readers have just got done taking physical chemistry, so it's okay. But what it did remind me of is something we're talking about in evolution right now, about the concept of macroevolution, how macroevolution is basically a bunch of microevolution, and that microevolution is a bunch of small changes accumulating, and basically have enough small changes accumulate to basically change one species into another species and have this macroevolutionary process, which kind of sounded similar, which was kind of going along this line of nonlinear thought, and how the brain and how he was explaining the brain too. And I thought it was kind of a better explanation than the ice phase transition, but obviously the brain's not evolving to some other type of brain or anything like that. So, and you probably have some controversy and might turn some people off on the book in the very introduction. But that's just what it reminded me of. So then I liked how he went into cultural evolution, and how a long time ago, hey, we stopped genetic evolution, and we had this emphasized cultural evolution. And it was kind of neat about how it would have taken thousands and thousands of years for us to develop a mutation to be able to digest a poisonous plant without killing us. However, through cultural evolution, in only a couple generations, we could tell our ancestors, hey, just don't eat that plant. And basically that this evolved from a truly unique anatomical structure in the human in the inferior parietal lobe, and basically the extensions of this lobe being the supramarginal and angular gyri that have these mirror neurons that enable us to show empathy and pass on social learning and imitate others and pass on the cultural transmission of skills. And that through this we basically turned culture into the new genome, and it became culture became a significant source of evolutionary pressure, and that the top culture would basically be the most dominant, and how essentially culture enabled us to go, or this emphasis of the supramarginal and angular gyri and the mirror neurons and the imitation enabled us basically to go from the cognitive capacity of an ape to the cognitive capacity of what we are now. So that's all I got. However, this is the first time I've been using webcams, and I came across an avatar, this guy right here, and I was just thinking that this guy really looked like Bruce Willis, except with hair and blonde hair. Maybe they're doing it to promote Die Hard 5, which I'm going to see, by the way, because it's awesome. But yeah, I just thought I would